But how about who is face of? We will tackle that coming your way at 3:40. We've got Brent Beer joining us at 4:00 p.m. today. Heisman Trophy voter, new proposed playoff, 14 teams. What does he make of that? We've got our spring ball wish list. I was running a couple errands this morning, and I heard an interesting conversation on the Rob Brown show about it was a specific sports movie question. We'll add some detail to that coming up at 4:40 p.m. We've got the top 5 at 5. We've got either or, and we have you here on the most interactive sports radio show anywhere. Great to have you with us. My friends, does Caitlin Clark go down as the all-time points leader in NCAA history if she scores 18 points on Sunday? The correct answer to that question, of course, is yes, she does. Yes, she will. That most certainly will take place. That most certainly will happen. But you know as well as I do that there are two record holders. There is the official record holder, and there is the record holder in the court of public opinion. And I can illustrate this. Barry Bonds is the all-time MLB home run king. He is the single-season home run king. He is those things, right? But I don't regard him as such. Do you? I will never regard him as such. We have a Hall of Fame that doesn't have the all-time hits king in it. Pete Rose. Wait a minute. So he has the most hits. What are you supposed to do when you're a batter? Get a hit. He's done that thing more than anyone else has ever done that thing, and he is not in your Hall of Fame, which makes it a Hall of Shame, in my opinion. Who really is the all-time hits king if he's not in the Hall of Fame, right? The Clemson Tigers have national championships in the 2016 season in football, in the 2018 season in football. Guess how many national championships the NCAA recognizes Clemson as having in football? 0. 0 national championships. So, okay, well, do they have a national championship then? Who regards them as national champions? And I think that was part of UCF's point all along when UCF had a national championship parade, declared themselves national champions. Their point is essentially, who are you to say we're not national champions when your own governing body doesn't declare champion to the team who wins the tournament anyway?
Guess what, Mark? You're a national champion.
I'm a national champion. Diesel, you are a champion of the game of life.
JD in Simpsonville, you are officially a national champion, and I'm not talking about playing on PlayStation.
Butch Jones, remember he did that Champions of Life thing at Tennessee?
What a nerd.
Remember that back in the
nerd.
Back in the day. I mean, that was the thing. That was the jam. So, guys, here is the deal. All right. Caitlin Clark needs 18 points on Sunday to become the all-time points leader, all-time leading scorer in college basketball history. Men, women, any age, any era, anything. She needs 18 points. She has a home game against number 2 Iowa State in which she can do that. You could not write a script like this. They're hosting the number 2 team in America, okay? They're hosting that number 2 team with the record on the line. You could not write a script like this. She is going to score more than 18 points at home, and she's going to go down as the record holder. In the last 10 days, she's surpassed Kelsey Plume to have the all-time NCAA record. She's surpassed Lynette Woodard to set the all-time major college basketball scoring record. She has done both of those things in the last 10 days. But she is still behind Pistol Pete Maravich. Now, let us bring you into the argument that people are posing, okay? There's a lot of folks, hopefully more than just misogynistic men, okay? Sexist men. There's a lot of folks that are saying, well, wait a minute. Pistol Pete did his in 3 years. Caitlin Clark this is her 4th year. Freshmen were ineligible when Pistol Pete played. There was no three-point line when Pistol Pete played. Boy, say that 3 times fast. Pistol Pete played. There was no shot clock, so you could hold the ball for forever and a day. Like there was nothing that made you give up the basketball. And in an era where teams struggled to score 44 points as an entire team, Pistol Pete averaged 44 points. Caitlin Clark has averaged 28 points a game. If your debate is who is the better player, that is a debate, okay? Like you can make that debate. You can make the debate that Pistol Pete is the best player that college basketball has ever seen. Was also an incredibly fine NBA player. But my friends, regardless of how long it took him or what the rules are then versus what the rules are now, Caitlin Clark is going to be your all-time record holder. And we ask you that question to open the show today, okay? After Sunday, who do you consider the all-time scoring leader in basketball in NCAA history? Are you going to go with Caitlin Clark or are you going to go with the Pistol Pete? 844-326-3663. That's 844-326-3663 on the Renewal by Anderson fan phone. And the text line is there for you at 71307. Just start your text with the word fan, and away you go on the show. Diesel, who is your record holder? When Caitlin Clark beats this on Sunday, who is your record holder all time?
You have to go with what the record book says. These people who want to insert whatever reality they want, it's just endemic of the society we live in. Oh, I don't like your facts, so I'm going to change the game so that your facts are irrelevant, or my facts are more relevant. And this is the world I'm going to live in. I'm going to live in the world. My brain is stuck in the world. And you can tell me what year this happened. What year were freshmen allowed to play?
I don't know.
In college basketball?
I don't know.
Whatever year that was, I'm going to live in a that year college basketball world. Well, that's fine, old timer. Everybody else is living in the modern world, okay? Everybody else is living in this world where freshmen have been allowed to play, which means for decades, players have had a full 4-year stretch to try to beat his 3-year record, and they hadn't been able to do it. If it had happened in the first year of a 4-year freshman eligibility career, then you might have something to say. But it's been a long time. And in 4 years, nobody's been able to beat that scoring record. So, eventually at some point, you got to just let it go, right? You got to be able to appreciate what's in front of your eyes. And we live in a world where people don't want to appreciate. They don't want to acknowledge what's happening right in front of them. And that is a really bitter place to be.
Yeah, Texter is essentially saying, you're saying, Texter, what I just said. I appreciate it. He said Pistol Pete had only 3 years to play since freshmen were ineligible. We said that. There was no three-point line. We said that. There was no shot clock so teams could hold the ball. We said that. Pistol Pete averaged 44 points a game. Clark's 28. We said that. To say she's breaking a men's record is a joke. It isn't the same game. No one said she's breaking a men's record, Texter. We're saying she's breaking the all-time record.
The record.
Men or women.
The record.
Now, here's what I would say to you, okay? I disagree with something Diesel said. I don't give a rip what the MLB record book says about Barry Bonds. He's not the all-time home run king to me. And when polled by anybody, more than half of MLB fans don't consider Barry Bonds the home run king either.
Well, don't we talk about how MLB fans are the ones costing the game growth in this modern era? So I don't know how you can hold on so tightly to the opinion of people who you yourself say are strangling the game.
Well, Diesel, not all of them are strangling the game. I mean, to some of the people, doing things with integrity matter.
But now we're arguing semantics here.
No. I'm going to tell you, Caitlin Clark didn't break any rule. She played under the rules of her day. Okay? So, Texter, with respect to Pistol Pete's awesomeness, and he is awesome, okay, the rules now are different. Unfortunately, it's the same way in the NFL. You know, you could set an all-time receiving yardage record, all-time rushing yardage record. Guess what? They play 17 games now. Okay? As long as you didn't break a rule, I'm going to say, well, okay. The guy who did it in 16 games may have been a little bit better player, but the record book says your name. Caitlin Clark, the record book says your name. Okay? The record book in MLB says Barry Bonds' name. The thing is, most people don't consider him the all-time home run king. And the court of public opinion is still a court. Okay? It's most certainly still a court. It's perhaps the most important court that is out there. So I'm curious, and I ask you guys, and we can make this as simple on you and as painless as you want. Who is, after Sunday, the all-time scoring leader in collegiate basketball?
One could also say, Mark, with load management and the way the game has changed to where you have multiple backs. For example, if we're talking about a running backs record or multiple wide receivers, just how many guys you rotate in and out of those positions, it's harder to do it now because you get fewer reps than guys back in the day who were getting the ball, 40 times a game.
But that is counterbalanced by the fact that they had no shot clock, Diesel. I'm like, if you go back.
So what you're saying is we can't decide the outcome of this argument because it's a different game.
Well, sure. I mean, that goes without saying. But if you go back and you watch old basketball clips, they literally, like a team that with a 2-point lead, would try to hold the ball for the final 2.5 minutes of the game. And like, imagine. I mean, if you think about most frustrating sports, imagine playing that, being down 2. And the team is just playing essentially keep away.
Well, if that's the case, why don't we have a throwback league that plays under the 1957 rule book so that all you nerds who say you can't ever break one of those records because the game has changed. You can never break one of those records because it's not the same as it used to be. Why aren't you guys going back and playing 1957 rule basketball? You're not.
I'm getting a lot of questions on the text line. I'm not getting a lot of answers. We ask you the question. You give us the answer. After Sunday, who is the all-time leading point scorer, the all-time leading scorer in NCAA basketball history? Is it Caitlin Clark or is it Pistol Pete Maravich? I'm answering Caitlin Clark. The NCAA record book will say Caitlin Clark. In Major League Baseball, it says Barry Bonds. I answer Hank Aaron. If you're a Clemson football fan, you claim national championships in 2016 and 2018. The NCAA says you have neither. Folks, this is not hyperbole here. The NCAA says you do not have national championship wins ever. I don't know why they don't give you credit for the one in 1980. Was it 80, 81? I don't know why they don't give you credit for that one. Okay, I don't know. But they also don't give you credit for 2016 and 2018. I don't know. Like, I don't have the answer there. I know that the BCS and the college football playoff are not NCAA sanctioned events, so that is why they don't quote unquote count. But you would think on some level that they have a chart and it lists each team's national championship for every sport. You can find this online. Super easy to find, right? You can look up NCAA national championships by team, and you'll see football listed there, and Clemson doesn't have a number next to it. So, like, if we're talking about, well, the record book tells us what matters, does it? Does it? The record book doesn't have Clemson with any national championships. The record book tells you Barry Bonds is the national champion. So, to me, with respect to what Caitlin Clark is going to be called, I'm trying to take a poll on the court of public opinion. Is it Caitlin Clark? Is it Pete Maravich? Regardless, Caitlin Clark is going to post a number on Sunday that is more points than Pistol Pete ever had, and she's going to do so in far more games than Pistol Pete had the privilege of playing. And we're trying to figure out, what does the court of public opinion say?
Madcraft throws this back at you using your words against you, Madcraft. I can't believe you would do that. He says, remember when Mark said Acuna's 70 bases stolen wasn't impressive because the game had changed?
Right. Oh, Madcraft, 100%. Like, when you tell me that you can only make a pickoff move 3 times, and when you tell me the bases are bigger, And when you tell me, well, now the runner on first knows when he can steal because the pitch clock is running down, right? The pitcher's got to make a throw to first base. When you tell me all that, and when you tell me that stolen bases are up 26%, I'm saying, okay, great. Take 26% off of Ronald Acuna Jr.'s stolen base total, and that's what he has to me in the court of public opinion. I never said it wasn't impressive. I said, to me, it's not the record, okay? It's not the record. What were they saying? He's the first 40-70 guy? What a bunch of BS. What a bunch of hooey. What a bunch of nonsense. Ricky Henderson would have stolen 300 bases with these rules. Give me a break. Give me a break. All right, guys, 71307. Give us your answers. Caitlin Clark, Pistol Pete Maravich, who is the all-time leading NCAA scorer after Sunday? What do you say? His name is Diesel. My name is Mark Ryan, and this is the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides, Mark Ryan and Diesel. We are the fan. It's Offsides, Mark Ryan and Diesel. We are the fan upstate. Great to have you guys with us, man. Could not do it without you. Diesel, something has dawned upon me. Do you remember a year ago at this time when it wasn't the Greenville Drive that got into a beef with us. It was Floor Field that got into a beef with us. Do you remember that? It was from a lot of the Greenville Drive accounts, but it was really the folks at Floor Field that were mad at us. Do you remember? Do you like, if you were to explain to somebody what that was about?
Yeah.
What would you say?
It was a Clemson, South Carolina at Floor Field attendance take, where you said that the stadium presumably sold tickets 50-50, divided all the seats 50-50, and that from your vantage point, there were a lot more Clemson fans than there were South Carolina fans. You accused South Carolina fans of giving up their tickets,
right,
and not being as into baseball as Clemson fans are, as shown by the attendance. And it lit the Floor Field accounts and lit the Drive accounts on fire.
Why do you think it lit them on fire?
Because they were Gamecock fans.
Oh, okay. So that's interesting. That's your take.
Right, that's my take.
I think I'm right on this, Diesel. Okay, I think I'm right. I don't know for sure. But they got lit up, Diesel, because they want the game to be there. And for anyone to post anything that suggests that it's not a level playing field there is going to lower their chances of being able to hold the game there in the future. Okay? Now, I want the game to be held there. At the same token, this wasn't, that wasn't a take against Floor Field. That wasn't a take against the Greenville Drive. It was a take kind of propping up Clemson fans and giving a diss to South Carolina fans, because here they have 50% of the tickets, and it's at least 2/3 or 3/4 Clemson fans there. So South Carolina fans sold their ticket allotment, many of them did, to Clemson fans, which created what felt more like a home field advantage for Clemson at the game. Well, to me, as I thought about this, at first I was like, what is their problem? Like, what do they care? You've got the game. The game is packed. It's like, oh, they want the game here. They want the game here. And if the perception is that it's a home game for Clemson, they're not going to get the game here. Well, guess what's happening this weekend? Another bogus environment. You're supposed to play tonight, weather permitting, and it's not looking good in Columbia, South Carolina. And then, Diesel, this is their neutral park. Segra Park tomorrow in Columbia, South Carolina. That's their neutral park. They play tonight at Founders. Yeah. They're supposed to play tonight at Segra Park. They're saying, well, you could get rained out tonight. What do? Some people are saying, I'll play a doubleheader tomorrow at Founders. Really? Like, that's what you do? You play 2 out of 3 at South Carolina. That's what you do. All of these baseball venues throughout the state of South Carolina are clamoring for this series. This series will produce perhaps the highest attendance that any of these stadiums see the whole year, even with the teams that normally play there. You know, you talk to people with the Greenville Drive, they'll tell you Clemson, South Carolina is one of our highest attended, most attended games of the year, Greenville Drive included. You know, it might be the case that for every baseball stadium that they play in, that's the highest attended game of the year when Clemson plays South Carolina. But, my friends, they play tonight. They're scheduled to play tonight. We are waiting to see what the hell is going on. Diesel, do you think you can play baseball in this weather? I'm going to say no.
No.
I don't. I'm
Absolutely not. You can't play, especially if there's any lightning in the area. You can't play. I don't know that there is, but still.
This kind of weather today, folks, is what I call an upstate special. From the beginning of November through the end of March, we get a disproportionate number of days that look exactly like this, that feel exactly like this. It just sucks that it's happening on the night of the first baseball game in this incredible series that we are all incredibly excited to see, man. Incredibly excited to see. By the way, Clemson leads the series 186, 145, and 2. 186, 145, and 2. That is their advantage over the Gamecocks. Carolina won the 2023 series over the Tigers, winning the Saturday game in Greenville that I attended with Angela and Jackson, thanks to home runs from Carson Hornug and Cole Messina. So we will see. We will see. Man, I'm telling you what, I'm excited to watch this, man. I'm excited to check it out. I will be viewing. I'll be watching. I don't think Segra Park is fair. I think, if I'm honest with you, and Fluor Field is much closer to a neutral field, obviously, than Segra Park is. You can't be dropping a game in Columbia. You know, Clemson is 40, 45 minutes away from Fluor Field. You're a Gamecock, you're an hour and a half away. So what? The difference is an hour. The difference is an hour. You can't drive an hour.
Has anyone ever done a study of how many, like what the breakdown is between Clemson and South Carolina fans in Columbia? I would assume that there's a disproportionate amount of South Carolina fans in Columbia, but we don't know that for sure. Just because the school is there, it is the state capital. The state capital does draw a lot of people from all over the state to it. So you got to assume there are many, many, many Clemson fans and alums who get pulled to Columbia for various reasons. Mm-hmm. You know, we've done our polling, and what was the breakdown? It was like 70% Clemson fans, 30% South Carolina fans, roughly. I mean, we could assume that it's flip-flopped that way in Columbia, 70% South Carolina fans, 30% Clemson.
But Diesel, when you're picking a neutral site, okay, like for example, Florida, Georgia, and Jacksonville, or it's Georgia, Florida, because they won the most recent 11 games. Georgia, Florida, and Jacksonville. The drive is 2 hours from UF. The drive is 4.5 hours from Georgia.
Yeah.
That stadium is exactly split down the middle, 50-50. Why? Because it's such a big event that Georgia fans aren't going to say we're not going. It is pathetic to me that you could have a game at Fluor Field and it could be 70-30 Clemson fans. And the reason given by Gamecock fans is it's much closer for them. It's an hour difference, Diesel. You got people coming from Athens, Georgia, 4.5 hours away to a game that's only 2 hours away from Gainesville, Florida, where the Gators play. Okay. And you got South Carolina fans who are saying, okay, it's 40-minute drive for Clemson. It's an hour and 40-minute drive for us. And that justifies them having a home field advantage. Like what?
It's not a hard drive from Columbia to Greenville.
That's I don't understand the excuse there. I have never understood the excuse there. You know, roll your old bones into your vehicle, roll your old bones over to Fluor Field, okay? And stop yapping about it because it's a beautiful stadium. It's a beautiful park. Segra Park, for what's supposed to be a neutral field, blows. That's just not what anybody should be doing. That's not what we should be doing here. All right. Caitlin Clark or Pistol Pete Maravich as the all-time record holder in college basketball. Texter says, Mark, does the CFL count towards the most passing yards records since it's considered professional football? Come on, man. I'm actually happy to learn that the Gamecocks have as many championships as Clemson football. Sweet. According to the NCAA, that is accurate. Texter says, Mark, it's Caitlin Clark. End of story. That's exactly what I was looking for. An answer. An answer. Texter says, Mark, I'm a 51-year-old man, so I'm more old school. With that being said, Clark will be the scoring leader. I do disagree with you on Bonds, though. Why? Clark didn't cheat. Bonds did. When you cheated in high school, did you get the grade that you cheated with? Or if you were busted cheating, did you get eliminated?
Yeah, but do you want Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame? Do you want Pete Rose's records to count?
I view gambling, Diesel.
You can view it how you want,
yeah,
but it's still cheating based on the rules of the game.
Yeah.
I look at any infraction that is labeled as cheating should be viewed equally in people's eyes. Cheating is cheating.
Yeah, I say there's levels to that. Like Barry Bonds was inflating his own stats. Pete Rose was doing nothing of the sort. Texter says Clark will be and should be considered the all-time scoring leader, but Pete averaged 44 without a three-point line is absolutely bonkers. When it comes to any GOAT, the great GOAT-like conversation, I think it's important to always keep that player in context of their era. For example, MJ is the GOAT, but so is LeBron. Each man is the greatest in their own era. It's nearly impossible to compare past to present because every sport drastically changes with time. Texter, if you could, when you send us that, if you could break up your texts, just a couple lines of text and then send a new text, that would be awesome. It's just easier to read that way. But what I will say to you is what you just said is exactly what NBA Hall of Famer Rick Barry says to me every single time he's on my show. Every single time he's on. He says you can't compare players for era. We're not asking who the GOAT is. We're asking who the record holder is in your mind. To me, it's Hank Aaron. It is not Barry Bonds. Okay? It is not. To me, it's going to be Caitlin Clark because she didn't cheat. It is not going to be Pistol Pete Maravich. It's not. Texter says, what's your opinion on Pearl Moore's point total? She has 400 to 500 more points than Peter Clark. Texter, I don't know who that is. Full stop. I don't know who that is. I don't know how many layers we're supposed to go down this. How many points scored do you have? Okay, I don't know who that is. Texter says, we would also be penalizing Clark for excelling in a sport that changed before her time. Dare we claim she didn't earn it? I would argue, Texter, that Caitlin Clark has pushed this sport so far forward, right? Like, I haven't sat down with Caitlin, but, you watch her play and it seems like Steph Curry was a clear inspiration for her. Like she plays like the female Steph Curry. And then when is she great? She's great like 5 to 10 years after Steph Curry burst onto the scene. It seems like that's an obvious influence, just like some of you guys hear me and say, Mark Ryan, I hear you. And it seems like Colin Cowherd is an obvious influence. I'm not trying to sound like him. It's just that I've listened to him a lot. Okay. You got to be yourself. Everyone else is taken. Caitlin Clark isn't trying to be Steph Curry. Steph Curry's already taken, but you can tell that it's an obvious influence there. And I would argue she has moved the game forward by so many leaps and bounds, brother. So many leaps and bounds. Let's see here. To Diesel's point about it being harder to rack up offensive stats now due to rotations, the NFL and NBA. Let's see here. The NFL and NBA have geared their games to become explosive offenses to where you can't physically defend offensive players. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver is actually exploring options to rein in offenses now because the pendulum has swung too far. That would be great to see, man. It has. You're seeing 140 points a game, defense optional, defense impossible. Hey, Adam Silver, how did you enjoy that All-Star game? I think we have a clip from you on that, right?
I did tweet last week that I'm tired of seeing NBA teams tweet out, so-and-so had a 45-point game, like it's a big deal anymore. Like everybody's having 45-point games constantly because nobody's playing any defense. It ceases to be impressive when everybody's able to do it every night.
We got 12 guys, Diesel, 12 guys averaging 27 points a game or more. 12. What? Used to have 12 guys averaging 20 points a game or more. Let's see here. Texter says, is there any chance that Spartanburg could host a South Carolina Clemson game? Would it be too small? What is the stadium? What is the we had said, Diesel, the Spartanburg Stadium was supposed to hold like 3,000 fans. Was going to be the number there. Founders Park holds 8,242. That would seem to be a potential issue. You'd sell out. The atmosphere would be raucous. Sure would be incredible, right? I'd love to see it.
3,500 seats is what it's supposed to be.
They might say that's too small. But that would be a bummer, Texter.
It also depends on, could they bring in, will there be areas to bring in temporary seating if they wanted to? Yeah. But I also don't know that Clemson and South Carolina would go play somewhere that small, even with temporary seating in place. Would they say this is not really, the stadium we want to be in? I'm sure it's going to be a beautiful ballpark, but they may just say, no, we'd rather go to one of these more established ballparks.
You know how, the worst kept secret in town is that, Clemson wants out of the ACC. And we had Don Munson say, I don't think, 5 years or 10 years? I don't think Clemson is going to be in the ACC in another 5 years.
It's because he said he didn't think the ACC would exist in 10 years.
Yeah, wouldn't exist. So the question is, guys, to me, when I look at Clemson and when you hear the financial advantages that South Carolina is going to have and these other schools are going to have, we can't allow that to happen. We've got to be making that money at Clemson. When you hear that, I don't think the why at Clemson is football related. I think the why is what you see with basketball and baseball and men's soccer and softball and golf and all those other sports, because football funds all of those other sports. I actually don't think Clemson is worried about South Carolina having a $20 million financial advantage a year in football. I don't think they're worried about that. Okay. I think they're worried about the funding for the rest of their sports, because look what we have right now this year in 2023, 2024. Look at what we're witnessing. We've got the best Clemson team in basketball maybe ever. We've got a Clemson men's soccer national championship. We have Dawn Staley, #1 women's team, seemingly every year. We have Lamont Paris about to get an incredibly lucrative contract extension. Okay? Like the high tide raises all ships, right? That's what's going on. That's what football's doing to all these other sports. And I think that's what Clemson's concerned about. Clemson doesn't want to go through, okay, well, here's our football season, and now football season's over, and football season lasted 3 months, September, October, November. And now the other 8 months of the year, South Carolina's going to kick our ass. Why are they going to kick our ass? Because they make $20 million more than us in football. And that $20 million more than they make than us in football is more than every other sport makes gross combined. Okay? So I think when Clemson is arguing, I don't think that's a football-related discussion. I think that's an athletic department-related discussion, trying to ensure that they have the money required to sustain what you see at McWhorter Stadium, Clemson softball, to sustain what you see at Little John Coliseum, to sustain all of that. And this sure is fun, isn't it? Like when you're watching top 25 baseball, Clemson, South Carolina, top 25 basketball, Clemson, South Carolina, projections and bracketology, 5 seed Clemson, 6 seed South Carolina. It's fun as hell, isn't it? I'm totally enthralled by this right now. One of the hardest, I had somebody, one of my mentors, guys, okay, is the former executive producer of The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Okay, he's a guy by the name of Chad Scott. He's been really instrumental in my career. And I had a conversation with him recently, and he said to me, man, Mark, I don't know how you do it. He said, how do you do 4 hours in that market when there's no football going on? He goes, that's basically what they care about, right? College football. I said, yeah. He goes, that is not easy. And he goes, you never want to be in the mindset of filling time, but it's not easy to entertain people for 4 hours a day when there's no football going on in that market, I'd imagine. I said, you're right, Chad, But this year is the best year it's been because this year we have a college basketball team for both to talk about, a college baseball team for both to talk about, women's college basketball at South Carolina to talk about. That's where the money's coming in, right? This has been the easiest February I've ever had here because of the success of the college baseball and the college basketball teams. All right, coming up next, Beamer is at it again. Wish I could have warned my buddy Phil. We'll tackle that when Offsides continues. Right here on the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides. Mark, Ryan, and Diesel, we are the Fan Upstate. It's Offsides. Mark, Ryan, and Diesel. We are the Fan Upstate. Great to have you guys with us, guys. Shano is at it again. He's at it again. I just don't know what this dude's problem is. Like, I don't get it. I do not understand it. Okay. Today, Sports Talk Media Network, Phil Kornblut, right, was opining on the receiver room at South Carolina. And it was interesting because Shane Beamer did very clearly not like what was said. And, you know, Shane Beamer, as he is wont to do, sets the record straight in his own way. All right. So the tweet says, this is what Shane Beamer took offense to. He's been a little disappointed, Beamer is, in the freshman receivers they have signed under him, so he was looking to upgrade in that area. Too many drops last season as well. Best receivers have been ones he's inherited from previous staff or taken from the portal. So Beamer didn't like that at all. Beamer didn't like the way he was quoted. And he says, Phil, if you're going to try and insinuate something, at least quote me accurately. I said I was disappointed in how quickly our freshman wide receivers have developed and gotten on the field. That's coaching, and it starts with me. Same thing I told our wide receivers in person when I met with them. Not one media member in that room thought I was taking a shot at our wide receivers. I appreciate those members and their professionalism. This, though, it gets tiresome from you. Phil Kornblut responds, Coach Beamer is correct in his criticism of my post. Though I was not quoting him, I should have included his words about development of the freshman receivers. I apologize for that mistake, however. I disagree with his comment that I was attempting to insinuate something that is inaccurate. I simply made a mistake and omitted a key word from his comments. No premeditated harm was intended. The thing is, what you have is a head coach here who is insanely reactionary to everything. Insanely reactionary to everything. Do you know what the appropriate reaction from Shane Beamer there would have been? You know what the appropriate? Nothing. Let Phil Kornblut say that. Let us say what we want to say. You know, like, guys, I bring you back to January 13th, 2023, 9:46 p.m. Shane Beamer. I normally don't respond to second-rate JV radio programs I've never heard of, and apparently no one else has either. considering you're in the upstate and have 8,000 followers? Do you have a good source other than, oh, I don't know, me? Happy for Garrett, we got our guy. As you guys now know, Shane Beamer said that at us. He yelled that at us. We gave him his highest engagement tweet of all time. He never had a tweet with more engagement than that before us. He's never had a tweet with that much engagement since. Shane Beamer, you're welcome. A year plus later, I still defend that to the hilt. Okay? We had information that South Carolina was rightfully very interested in Garrett Riley. That information was that the information also said that Garrett Riley, the interest was not mutual. Garrett Riley was not interested in South Carolina. Would you be more concerned if that was right or wrong, or more concerned if your school wasn't interested in Garrett Riley? You know, like for Shane to say we had no interest in Garrett, we got our guy, I have more concern with that than Garrett Riley not being interested in you. Why wouldn't you be going after Garrett Riley? Of course you're going after Garrett Riley. He was the number one available offensive coordinator out there. But you see, folks, instead of just coming to me, instead of calling my boss, instead of saying, hey, I'd like to set the record straight with Mark, Shane Beamer goes scorched earth. Okay, goes scorched earth. He was much harsher on us than he was of this particular post. But the correct answer, as Triumph the Insult Comic Dog would say, Diesel, is who gives a bleep? Who gives a bleep? What do you care that we have information that you wanted Garrett Riley and didn't get him? What do you care? Why do you care about going back? Don't you, like, bro, you got an offensive line to worry about.
You got better things to think about.
Right. Like, what are you doing? I still don't understand, like, why he wants to get in the mud with how things are portrayed, with why he's spending so much time worried about how things are portrayed. And guys, I wasn't the first media guy he went after. Dennis Dodd may have been. I'm in the middle. Now it's Phil Kornblut. I guarantee you, Diesel, like, what are the odds, Diesel, that we're going to see a social media outburst from Shane? Okay. If I set the over-under at 0.5 media outbursts from Beamer against a media member before the end of 2024. Over or under?
It's way over.
It's way over.
He can't help himself.
That's the problem. He can't help himself. He can't help himself. What are we doing here, guys?
You have the ability to have your media relations team reach out to the host to say, hey, we think you are a little disingenuous. We think you are reactive, whatever it might be. And we would like to set the record straight. You reach out in a professional manner. But see, we also live in a world where people just want to, they're always looking for the gotcha tweet. Oh, I'm here to get you. I'm here to make you look stupid. I'm here to punk you.
You know who did this the right way, Diesel? And I'll go ahead and give them credit for this now. The Carolina Panthers. Because last January, we had a scoop that Steve Wilkes was not going to get the job. And we listed guys that were going to get interviews, and D'Amico Ryans was one of the guys that was in line to get an interview. And I got a call, and it was the Carolina Panthers, and we were on the air at the time. I called them back, and they said, Mark, we appreciate your coverage of our team. We just want to let you know that if you have a scoop like that and you want to run it by us in the future, you're more than welcome to do that. See, do you see the difference in that with what Shane Beamer did? Obviously,
it's a very different tact.
Like, it's a very different tact. And I said, okay, can you tell me, like, is your perception, is the information accurate? And they said, well, we don't have a comment on what's going to happen with Steve Wilkes. We haven't heard the name D'Amico Ryans attached to us. And then what happened? Steve Wilkes was not offered the job. You know what I mean? The base point of the information was accurate. D'Amico Ryans was signed by Houston. But the point in the tweet that everyone was reacting to was that Steve Wilkes was not going to be hired. Steve Wilkes was not hired. And it created kind of a firestorm. Instead of doing what Shane Beamer did, they called me. And they said, Mark, we want to invite you, if you have a scoop, to call us. Hey, Shane, I'm not hard to find. I got the Deion Sanders hoodie, Diesel. I ain't hard to find, right? You have the Deion Sanders hoodie. You ain't hard to find.
You should have also invited him. Hey, if you want to feed me scoops and you want it to be accurate,
Yeah.
if you want my scoops about your team to be accurate, why don't you feed me the information?
I just don't
You're
get it.
there.
Guys, explain to me the need for your head coach to go volcanic on everybody who has a wording that he doesn't like.
I think Shane knows that the lowest common denominator audience loves it. I think he knows that the Gamecock fans who are going to take this to Twitter, who are going to fight it out in every comment section from left to right, top to bottom, love this kind of stuff.
It's crazy to me, man. Makes no sense to me whatsoever. Okay, my friends. Coming up next on the show, we've got our guy, Brent Beard, Heisman Trophy voter, new playoff format, already talking about expanding it to 14. Why? That's next here on Offsides. We are the Fan Upstate. What's good, my friends? This is the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides. Mark Ryan and Diesel, and we are the Fan Upstate, rolling on until 7 o'clock p.m. today. Thrilled to have you with us. Joined, as always, at this time by our dear friend, Heisman Trophy voter, First Coast News in Jacksonville. Follow him on Twitter at Brent, B-E-A-I-R-D. Brent Beard joins us right now on the show. Great to catch up with you, my friend, as is always the case. So, Brent, listen, I don't know what we're doing here with the playoff. Josh Pate says you got a lot of people who don't love college football in charge of making the most money for college football, but the changes they're making are not changes anyone who loves the sports would be putting forth. Why, Brent, to me, in this 14-team playoff, why would the Big Ten champ and the SEC champ get an automatic bye? That doesn't make any sense to me. If we've had ACC national champions. We've had Big 12 national champions. Shouldn't the 1 and 2 seed go to the best teams? I don't understand this at all.
Well, you've got a power play going on right now by the SEC and the Big Ten. They both think that because they put in the most teams, they make the most money, they have the most eyeballs from television, that they should not only have 1 but 3, and I've heard even they might want 4 of the spots that are reserved for them. So I mean, whoever has the most goal rules sometimes. Not saying that's good. I'm just saying that is what we're seeing right now in the negotiations as we go with this. Again, we've got the 7-5 through this year, next year, and then it is entirely up for grabs coming in 2026.
Brent, I mean, there's a large portion of the media punditry, especially some of the biggest voices in the business. Kirk Herbstreit is one of them. Maybe Nick Saban will be one of them. I'm not sure. Do the biggest voices and the biggest stars, the talent, the people that actually engage with the audience, do they have any ability to influence anything, or is this solely money men wearing expensive suits making decisions to further line their pockets?
No, I think I think that they will have some kind of say so when at some point some of this settles down and you get more of some logic and common sense to these situations. I think, in fairness to the SEC and the Big Ten, what's happening here is, and they have said this, that we are running out of patience for the NCAA and or Congress and or both to come up with answers to NIL and come up with answers to the portal and all the issues that we're going through right now. And because of that, we may end up just having to do our own thing and come up with our own answers. So I think that's where they want to go. I understand their frustration. Not everybody wants to agree with them, and I get that. And I still am quite concerned about what happens here to the non-Power 5 or non-Power 4, as it may be right now. So we are in this this continual change that happens virtually right now by the day.
Brent Beer joining us here. Offsides, Mark Ryan and Diesel, the fan upstate. Brent, I'm going to give you my answers here, and then I would like yours. Of the 6 quarterbacks that have a chance to go in the first round of the NFL draft, who is going to be hardest to replace by their college team and easiest to replace by their college teams? Now, Brent, the quarterbacks are Caleb Williams, Michael Penix Jr., Bo Nix, J.J. McCarthy, Drake May from North Carolina, and Jaden Daniels. And I'm going to say that J.J. McCarthy is going to be the easiest to replace because of the talent that is already on that roster. And
Yeah.
I don't know, like I didn't look at J.J. McCarthy and say, man, that's a unique, dynamic talent. I think the one who's going to be most difficult to replace is Michael Penix Jr. because he literally carried every team he played for, be it Indiana or Washington. Of those 6, what do you say, Brent? Hardest to replace for the college team. In other words, that team is going to take the biggest step back, and easiest to replace. What do you think?
I would say Jane Daniels will be the hardest to replace. I mean, that's Daniels is all you can say is he's a generational talent. Easiest to replace, I would say, what he really either did or didn't do or was asked to do would be McCarthy. Look, that's not saying McCarthy's not a good quarterback, because I think he is. But I think when you look at, they basically won last year on their defense and their running game. I'm not saying the passing game did nothing, but compared to other schools, it didn't. And I would probably go with Penix, most hardest to replace, number 2. I love Penix. I thought Penix did a great job. And Mark Diesel, when the ball left his hand, he throws a kind of a pass that very few of the others you named are able to even throw.
So, Brent, with a 14 playoff increasing to 12, 14, whatever it may be, obviously the money involved is going to increase exponentially as well. And the Big Ten and the SEC are not going to like splitting the money up the way that it is currently split up, at least the percentages. And I see here that, there's a proposal for a 4-tier system. Now, what happens if, for example, a team, or a conference elevates itself out of 4th-tier status? Is there a structure in place where conferences can shift and move, or do you see these as being hardwired structures that no matter what, the Mountain West and American will be 3rd tier, and that the Conference USA, MAC, and the Sun Belt will be 4th tier?
I don't think they're hardwired. I think that's probably what media probably see it as, and that may be, and I can understand them probably coming up with that. But no, I think if a conference is able to right the ship, and they have that much improvement, they should go up. And again, the tiers are just more from for what people hear and that they divulge to the media, and that's what they write. But I mean, that is set up obviously to favor the two main conferences right now. So yeah, it could probably shift some and go with that, because really there really is nothing in concrete. I mean, we know what's going to happen this year and next year, but after that, it's really we right now have no clue what might happen.
Brent Beer joining us, Heisman Trophy voter. Brent, this when we are in, let's say, Brent, today is March 1st. So I am going to say, Brent, 10 months from now, December 1st, who will have a hotter seat? Shane Beamer, Billy Napier. 10 months from right now, December 1st.
I would probably say Napier, because the schedule is so difficult. Now I will say this. The first 5 games, they ought to either be undefeated or 4-1, or at least I think they'd be capable of doing that. The rest of the schedule just brutal. And it's going to be really difficult for them to make much hay with the remainder of that schedule. And look, here's the difficult thing about this is, if I'm not saying it will happen, but I mean, instead of 4-1 or 5-0, if they're 2-3 or 1-4, Mark Diesel would Napier see Halloween at that point?
It would feel like Halloween to him, for sure.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Brent, on one of his shows this week, Josh Pate made a very interesting point and envisioned a playoff structure whereby the national playoff could actually shrink and the conference playoffs would grow, effectively turning these conference playoffs, whether it be a 4-team Big Ten playoff, 4-team SEC playoff, would serve as semifinals for the national playoff. Is that something you envision happening as well? I mean, it's just hard to believe that those organizing this national structure would want to shrink what they are building.
Yeah, I agree. I would be surprised with that too, because if you shrink that, you're going to shrink the money. I mean, it's like some of these pundits are saying, well, they're going to do away with the championship games. Guys, they make more money in these championship games, particularly like the SEC, than almost at times some conferences have made. I mean, I don't see that going away. I think what Josh is talking about would be if the SEC and the Big Ten end up kind of morphing with each other, and they rule the roost in the next 3 or 4 years. Could they have a playoff situation? And they very well could, just involving their own schools. And if that happened and that started to grow, I could see that happening. But for the here and the now, I don't think we'll lose the 12, and then I can't see that shrinking unless the top 2 conferences decide that's the direction they're going.
Brent Beer joining us, Offsides, Mark Ryan and Diesel. We are the Fan Upstate. Brent, who's the best quarterback in college football 2024? I made you think. I heard a pause there.
Well,
yeah, there you go.
I mean, if you go to Athens, then they'll tell you it's Carson Beck. With that, I could see Nussmeier having a good year at LSU. Connor Weigman at A&M included in there. Cam Ward is going to be really interesting at Miami to see what he's going to do. I know Ungalale is at FSU. I'm just not sold on him right now. as far as what he can do to help them out of where they to elevate them where they really need to be. I mean, there's still a lot that we don't know about as far as how good's Michigan to be. Caleb Williams is leaving USC. Penix is leaving. Listen, the reason that's such a tough question is because we've got so many good ones who are going out this year, and we just have so many questions right now about next year.
Brent, you can't pick a current major conference team, but you've got about a year or more to go ahead and get yourself a PlayStation 5 and get ready for NCAA football 25 to come out. Which school would you choose to play as in dynasty mode on the new NCAA football game?
Let's see. Okay. If Texas explodes like some people think they might, I might go with them. I mean, if Michigan continues if they're successful in running the ball and winning the line of scrimmage and playing good defense, I could see that mode keep going on for them. Also, boy, this thing it's shifting around so much right now.
Do you have a small school, Brent? Like, we're talking in the video game here. Do you have a small school that they have your heart, and they always have? And if you could go into video game land, fantasy land, and say, you know what, I'm going to take that school and I'm going to take them all the way to the top, who would you choose? Is there a small school that's got your heart?
I don't know how small they are necessarily, but I think if Houston gets going with that, and Mark can tell you this, with that talent around that area,
oh yeah, man.
Help me on this, Mark? Would the right guy in that area, would they take off and be a power?
So the only thing holding them back,
population?
the only thing holding them back, Brent, was the conference, right? That was it.
Yeah.
That's it. And it is true. Houston is a pro sports city, which hurts them. However, Brent, the fact that they were viewed as small time because they were in a small conference was the biggest factor in limiting them from getting their own homegrown talent. Because there is not a single city in America that is playing better high school football than Houston, Texas. They just weren't getting any of the 4 and 5 stars from Houston. If you could put walls around Houston, you got a national championship team there.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
You most certainly do.
In the support there, and I'm going to look. And you can help us on this too. I know they've made improvements, but if they were able to do what we're thinking they could do under the right circumstances, could you imagine the facilities there too?
No doubt about it. Brent, what is the testiest exchange you've ever had with someone surrounding college football? Can be a fan, can be a media member, can be a coach. I ask you this, Brent, because you are the most kind-hearted, mild-mannered dude we've ever seen. It's a miracle you and I are friends when you consider your personality and mine. All right. Have you ever had a testy exchange with a fan, media member, or coach? What was that scenario? What's the story there?
I'll leave the name of the school out, but I was dealing with their SID and was just basically trying to get a credential.
Now let me interject here, Brent, so that our listeners know. SID stands for Sports Information Director. And these people, essentially, they should just be called gatekeepers because their job is to prevent you from getting access to who you want, to what you want. Right. That's what they do. And if you're a sports information director, tell me I'm wrong. That they are the gatekeeper to getting you the head coach, to getting you tickets, to getting you a press pass, to getting you those things that you want. So anyway, Brent, I just wanted to explain that to our audience. Continue, please.
No, that's well said. Well, in essence, what this was, I mean, the radio station I was working with, when we were talking, it said, "Hey, we haven't been to FSU in a while. Let's go." So called the SID and said, "Look, we're in Jacksonville. We'll love to come up. Interest in your school. I want to give you some publicity down here." And the answer I got back was, "Well, you don't cover the team every day and you're not at practice every day. So we're not going to do that." And to go along with this, I do want to say something positive here in that, unfortunately, the greatest sports information director in Claude Felton of Georgia is retiring. And Claude, I don't know if you've dealt with Claude much, Mark, but Claude was the ultimate professional, knew what kind of job we needed to do, knew what we needed to get it done, and he went at it his way to introduce himself to people, ask, "Is there anything my staff can do to help you?" And he was an absolute dream, and I'm grieved he's retiring. Does that make sense?
Man, it certainly does. Certainly does. Brent Beard, great to catch up with you, my friend. Always good to hear your voice. And we look forward to having you on next Friday with us, my friend.
Good. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Diesel. Take care, guys.
All right. Take care. Brent Beard, Heisman Trophy voter. Guys, did you do me a solid? If you're on X or Twitter, send him a follow at Brent, BEAIRD. Our morning show. I was driving around running some errands this morning. So our morning show, the Rob Brown Show, had a fun topic on this that I wanted to jump into as well with our own takes. It has to do with movies and it has to do with sports. And it is next, right here on the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides. Mark, Ryan, and Diesel, and we are the Fan Upstate. It's Offsides. Mark, Ryan, and Diesel. We are the Fan Upstate, rolling on until 7 o'clock p.m. today. Wonderful to have you guys with us, man. Truly do appreciate you making time for us here this afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, so I was running errands this morning, and I was, Rob was talking about he was at a cigar bar recently, and somebody asked him the question, what sport has the best movies? And so they started talking about it. And I was like, man, this is interesting. Good topic. Rob and Lonzo, good topic. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, well, there's actually a way, like that's a subjective question, right? What sport has the best movies? There's actually a way to figure that out. So then in my own show prep after lunch early this afternoon, I went and I found this list of the top 50 sports movies ever. It was by The Vulture. And what I like about it, Diesel, is it just came out. December 21st, 2023. This list is like 2 months old, 2.5 months old. So I went through, okay? And if I said to you guys, what sport has the best movies? How would you answer that? For the next 3 or 4 minutes, hit us on the text line, okay? And let us know how you'd answer that question. Just give us the sport. 71307. Just start your text with the word fan, and away you go. Which sport has the best movies? Diesel, you're guessing right now, okay? And you can give me 2 answers here, Diesel. What sport you think has the best movies, and what sport actually has the best movies?
I think, to me, college football has the best movies. But I think the list is going to say that baseball has the best movies.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Diesel, would you believe that college football does not have a single movie
Boo.
on the Vulture list of the top 50 movies
Boo.
of all time?
What?
Of all time. Not a single one.
Get out of town.
Not a single one. All told,
Wow.
college football, NFL football has 2 of the top 50 movies. And I think one of them, Diesel, because one of them is not The Replacements, but Any Given Sunday.
That's not even real pro football. That's a
Right.
fake football league.
Right. So there's not a lot of football on there. Here are the sports that had more of the top 50 sports movies of all time than football. Track and field had 3. Hockey has 3. Racing has 3. Okay. Golf has 3. And this is not a sport, Diesel, but wrestling has 3. Okay. Wrestling 3, racing 3, hockey 3, track. All of those have more top 50 sports movies of all time than does football.
So Greco-Roman wrestling has 3 movies in the top 50. Not whatever this dudes in spandex, prancing around to a predetermined storyline. That can't be the subject.
In fairness,
of the movie.
I think one of the top 50 movies was actually Olympic wrestling. I think that was actually.
I've never seen an Olympic wrestling movie.
I think that was actually one of them. But ladies and gentlemen,
it's funny.
What sports has the best movies all told? Okay, 71307 on the text line. Just start your text with the word fan, and away you go on the show.
Would they consider Caddyshack to be a golf movie?
I classified that as golf.
Yeah, it's a golf movie. Yeah, sure.
That was in there. That was in the top 50. Texter says baseball. Texter says boxing has the best movies. Texter says probably baseball. Number 2, golf. Number 2, golf. Well, that is how, thus far, how our texters are answering this. What sport has the best movies? I'm going to give you the answer right now, okay? Because I went through the list. And granted, this was just one list, but it's 50 movies. That's a long list. And it just came out. So I'm like, man, I'm not going to find a better list than this of the best sports movies of all time. It's recent. It has anything that's been great in the last few years. It's 50 movies deep, right? It looks like it's put together by a panel of people, right, that voted on this. So here you go. The Paralympics has 1 movie in the top 50, as does cycling and rugby, as does pool. Not Michael Phelps pool, but Smoky Bar pool. Diesel, is Karate Kid a sports movie?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's a sports movie. It's competitive. The whole premise of the movie is that they're headed to the All Valley Karate Championships. Now, there's a lot of twists and turns, and life happens between the beginning of the movie and the all city tournament, but they're still headed to a tournament. In that case, is Mortal Kombat a sports movie?
See, the thing is, I never classified Karate Kid as a sports movie.
It is.
And I don't want people to throw sharp, pointy objects at me.
It's a fish out of water movie. It's a coming of age movie.
Yeah.
It's a building your confidence movie, and it's a sports movie.
Yeah, I never looked at it that way. Diesel, Dodgeball has 1, and the movie, ironically enough, is called Dodgeball.
Shocker.
They're in the top 50. Figure skating has 1.
Blades of Glory?
And tennis has 1. King Richard was the father of the Williams sisters. Richard Williams.
Is Blades of Glory the figure skating movie?
I do not believe so, Diesel. I do not believe so. So anyway, how about the sports that have more than 2? We've got wrestling with 3. We've got golf with 3. Okay. We have hockey, racing, and track and field with 3. And now we get to the big time sports in terms of movies. Okay. We have got, my friends, basketball has 5. Okay. 5. As a matter of fact, Diesel, this site, and this might kill all credibility for them. I don't recall seeing this, Diesel. Hoop Dreams, they said, is the number 1 sports movie of all time.
What?
Hoop Dreams.
Get out of here. I've never seen Hoop Dreams.
I've never seen it.
What?
Well, see
I mean, you would think
now?
the popular choice would be to say Hoosiers, right?
You're doing now what we yell at our audience for. You say you've never seen it, so it's no good. You know?
I've never heard of it.
Hoop Dreams.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, they say it's the best sports.
What, it was Air Bud number 2? Come on.
I'll give you the top. I'll give you the top 5. Hoop Dreams, Raging Bull,
Okay.
Rocky, Bull Durham, and Foxcatcher. What is that?
Foxcatcher, that's a wrestling movie.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the Steve Carell. I think he had a unibrow in that movie.
Okay. Yeah, those are their top 5. Not a bad top 5. That's the first thing I
No, that's
do.
an awful top 5.
Is it really?
That top 5 sucks.
Really?
Yeah. The fact that you tell me like the top 50, there's no We Are Marshall, there's no Rudy. Rudy isn't in the top 50 sports movies of all time.
Rudy is.
You said
That's
there were
one
no
of 2.
college football
Oh,
movies.
you're right. Yeah, I was wrong. That's 1.
Okay.
I was wrong. That is wrong. Rudy is in the top 50. Okay, so basketball has 5. Boxing has 8. Baseball has 11. What sport has the best movies? It's clearly baseball because it's 11 to 8 to 5. Boxing is the only sport that isn't getting at least doubled up by baseball in terms of the number of movies. You know?
Now, when they say Rocky, are they counting all of the Rocky movies?
No, they just said Rocky.
Rocky 1?
Yeah, they just said Rocky.
Okay.
They just said Rocky. That's all they said. And what made me kick myself about this, Diesel, is that the night before last, I saw what is my favorite sports movie of all time. And we've got this thing going on with Jackson at his school where he's got to dress up he's got to like wear the uniform of a sports hero. And he's going to go as Jackie Robinson. Okay? He's going to have the old school Brooklyn Dodgers hat.
I thought you were going to say Ladybugs.
The uniform, the whole 9 yards. And so the night before last, we watched the movie 42, the late, great Chadwick Boseman from right here, Anderson, South Carolina. I believe he went to T.L. Hanna High School. We had his high school basketball coach on with us. He plays Jackie Robinson. Guys, I don't know how that movie isn't on everybody's list of best sports movies. It's freaking phenomenal. Okay? And if you have Amazon Prime, do me a solid and go watch it for free this weekend. It's on Amazon Prime for free. It's just called 42. You just type in the number 4, the number 2, hit enter. It comes up. The Jackie Robinson story and watching what he went through and watching all of that, it's one of the best sports movies I have ever seen. But like objectively speaking, baseball's had the greatest number of highly regarded movies that exists, right? Baseball has the highest number. What do you guys say? 71307 on the text line is where you can get to us. You can also give us a call at 844-326-3663.
So what are all these baseball movies that are in the top 50? I would imagine that that The Natural is in there.
Okay,
it's been a long time
was
since
BS,
I've seen The
Jason.
Natural.
This was BS. They had The Natural number 50.
What?
And I said, you got 49 sports movies that are better than that. So
they just throw these things in a blender and then list them off. Are you sure this isn't Big Game Boomer's list? Is he putting this out just to troll everyone?
Okay.
Because baseball movies are great because there's so much time for personality. Baseball is a slower game, and even in game, you can highlight the players' personalities.
Here are some of the other ones, Diesel, that are obviously baseball. Major League is number 39.
Yep.
Okay.
Great movie.
Major League is number 39. Okay. Let's see here. 8 Men Out. Diesel, I was reading the description for this. I got to see this. This is, wait a minute. This is about the Black Sox scandal.
Oh, okay.
I got to see this. I got 8 Men Out, 1988.
I thought 8 Men Out was the type of movie Madcraft watches after midnight. He turns on Cinemax, 8 Men Out.
Oh, no. We've got the Bad News Bears on there.
Okay. I wouldn't say that's a great movie.
Okay, the Bad News Bears.
I like the movie.
Tin Cup was one of the golf ones that's on here.
Okay, love it.
Let's see here.
Big crush on Rene Russo as a kid.
Moneyball is on this list.
Okay.
Did you like Moneyball?
I liked it. I think I've only seen Moneyball one time.
Field of Dreams is on here.
I've seen Field of Dreams one time.
It's got Field of
Like
Dreams.
it's not one of those movies that gets me to rewatch over and over
A
again.
League of Their Own is on there.
Love A League of Their Own. Huge crowd.
Own
Madonna was so hot in that movie.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, baseball has the best sports movies. Objectively speaking, it does, right? Like you can say otherwise and you can be wrong. Okay. No, but like I understand it's a subjective question. On this list had more baseball movies, top 50 than anybody else. But when we return, and I've already revealed one of them to you, I'm going to share with you my top 5 sports movies of all time. Okay. Diesel will have a few of his as well. And you should be watching them immediately. All right. This is the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides. Mark Ryan and Diesel. And we are the Fan Upstate. It's Offsides. Mark Ryan and Diesel. We are the Fan Upstate. Awesome to have you guys with us. Rolling on until 7 o'clock p.m. today. Okay. Texter says, Mark, the expanded playoff is such a sham. During their 2016 title season, let's see here. Okay, Texter, please send us individual texts, like a few lines per text. You sent us a super long paragraph. It's going to be like brain surgery putting this all together. During their 2016 title season, Clemson destroyed Ohio State 31-0 in the semifinal round of the college football playoff before beating Bama in the in the nail biter in Tampa. Under this new college football playoff system, that same Ohio State team would have gotten the benefit of a bye along with Alabama. That's a joke. Imagine the 2018 Clemson squad with Trevor Etienne and the Power Rangers having to play an extra game in the college football playoff compared to whoever won the Big Ten that year or Alabama, whom they obviously trounced 44-16. Talk about a rigged system. You know, like, guys, it used to be that, like, you had to hide your bias. Like, if you were corrupt, you had to hide it. We're getting to the point now, like, where we're just flaunting corruption right in front of everyone's faces. Okay, SEC and Big Ten get the 1 and 2 seats. Based on what criteria? Based on we're the Big Ten and the SEC. How is that fair? How is that right? How is that just? To be honest, you saw this last year. You saw this with Florida State. You're not in the Big Ten or the SEC, but guess who is? Washington is. Texas is. They're both in the Big Ten and the SEC. So guess what happens to you, Florida State? You are the first casualty of the new corrupt playoff system. Congratulations. Unbelievable, isn't it? Texter says baseball has the best movies. Boxing has the best movies. Probably baseball, then second golf. Texter says baseball. Let's see here. College Driving has the best movie, thanks to Rodney Dangerfield's Back to School.
Love that movie.
Texter says it has to be football altogether between high school, college, and NFL. So says Spur Daddy. Is Vision Quest on the list? No, John Dog, it is not. You're telling me radio isn't on the list? Crazy. Texter, you know what I'm going to do? I had one of you guys bring me a sealed copy of radio because the guy's from here, right? Like, so many big time people are from this area, man. It's awesome. Awesome to see. Do you know, I'm embarrassed to admit this, that DVD is still unopened. I still have it. I know right where it is. Radio, never seen the movie.
Oh, you're going to love it.
Never saw it.
You're going to love it. Cuba Gooding Jr. is fantastic in that movie.
Never saw it. Need to see it.
It's like a heartstring puller, for sure.
Teen Wolf is a better basketball movie than Hoop Dreams. Teen Wolf sucks, man. Can you stop with that?
Air Bud is a better basketball movie.
Oh, come on. Texter says,
Space Jam, the LeBron James version, is a better movie than that.
Texter says, where is Necessary Roughness? Have to have that movie. Texter, we don't put a movie in the list just because you want to do Necessary Roughness with somebody who appeared in that movie. Okay? Like we don't play that way. Texter says Foxcatcher is a wrestling movie based on the Olympic style wrestling. And if I'm not mistaken, it's based on a true story where the coach kills the wrestler, if memory serves. Memory serves you well. The Sandlot is my favorite sports movie. Diesel, you ready? I hate this. I've never seen Sandlot. This reaction,
What?
I hate that. I hate when people do that to you. What's wrong with you? You've never seen.
You got some catching up to do.
I do. Texter says this list is absolute truck stop toilet water. Truck stop toilet water. Even worse than toilet water. Texter says my two favorite sports movies are Field of Dreams and Remember the Titans. There you go. Texter says, I believe your movie list is going to be subjective. You were talking about the greater population and the popular sports getting more action, getting more traction. Wrestling, cycling, and other sports that have phenomenal stories are not going to have as many movies simply because they're not as popular.
Do you think there are cricket movies in foreign countries? There's got to be some, right?
I think so. Have you seen The Hill with Dennis Quaid? Have you?
The Hill with Dennis Quaid.
It's not the best baseball movie, but worth watching. That's not the great best sell job, Texter.
Is that the movie where he's the old pitcher who gets back into the game?
Oh, no.
I think I remember that movie. I think I've seen part of it, but not the whole thing.
The Hill with Dennis Quaid. Martial Arts is the best sports movie. Never heard of it. Trey in Kentucky. Here we go, Trey. Says the top 5 sports movies are Rocky, Happy Gilmore, The Longest Yard, Tin Cup, and Remember the Titans. Thank you, Trey, for being wrong.
Do you remember why they called him Tin Cup?
No.
Because in high school, he was the catcher on the high school baseball team. The starting pitcher had a big league curveball, and he couldn't always catch the ball. They thought Tin Cup was better than Clang.
Oh, I see what you did.
Because the curveball would get past his catcher's mitt, hit him in the nads.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna hit you with my 2 honorable mention. I maintain, guys, Karate Kid is not a sports movie, but Diesel says it is. So I'm gonna put Karate Kid as an honorable mention, and White Men Can't Jump, Diesel, is an honorable mention. Only 50% because Rosie Perez. When I was a kid in that movie, I do not know that I had more of a crush on any woman in any movie, more so than her in that movie.
The last movie I saw her in was Birds of Prey, and she still looks good. I mean, she looks much older.
Diesel
looks good.
Sicked his Birds of Prey on her, during that movie. All right, so here we go, Diesel. My top 5. Number 5 for me is Moneyball. Moneyball ruined the actual game of baseball, but the movie is fantastic, and it's all about how the Oakland A's, how they turned having no budget into a perennial contender. Number 4 for me, Diesel, is Rudy. Look, is it cheesy? Yeah, it's cheesy. I get it. I know. Rudy was offsides. I get it. I mean, I understand. I love the story of it. I love the story of pursuing your dreams. Number 3, speaking of dreams, Field of Dreams. Guys, I don't watch a lot of baseball games from first pitch to final out. Not entirety. I'll watch a majority of Braves games, like an inning or two. So like a majority of Braves games, I see some of that game. Okay. But in terms of whole baseball games, I watch almost none. Number 2 for me, and by the way, when they play, so I meant to say that Field of Dreams games that they play, I watch that every year, whole game. I love it. It's fantastic. I wish they would play one at that Spartanburg Stadium that the Spartanburgers played at, where that field Jackie Robinson played at. What's the name of that Spartanburg field, ladies and gentlemen? If you remember, Jackie Robinson played on that field. Number 2 for me, Diesel, is A League of Their Own. And number 1 is 42, the Jackie Robinson story, which is phenomenal, freaking phenomenal. Harrison Ford is in it. Chadwick Boseman is in it. Harrison Ford is Branch Rickey, the manager who gave him a shot. So I'm looking at this, Diesel. I got my 5 favorite sports movies. 4 are baseball. for a baseball. I'm not even like this is not even close to me. Not even close. Duncan Park, thank you, Texter. Duncan Park, Spartanburg. Jackie Robinson played at Duncan Park.
That would be huge for the upstate to get that game there. I mean, obviously, Major League Baseball would come in and spend a ton of money.
Oh yeah,
setting that park up.
And the cool thing about that park, you ever been to Duncan Park, Diesel?
I have not.
The cool thing is when you're there, Diesel, it's totally unchanged from what it was. You know what I mean? So this is actually a sad subplot to it, but they had a colored section of the stadium, right? And that's what they called it. And every African-American person had to sit there. There's no sign that says that anymore, but the seating section is the same. And you can see, like, why would we sit here if I can go sit in these seats over there? You're sitting there. Well, people were made to do that. And the stadium is it's like being transported back into time. Mark, that was a weak list. I didn't ask you. Who asked you? Diesel.
Well, everybody's list is going to be completely subjective to when they grew up, to what movies you were exposed to as a kid. My list has a lot more comedies in it than I think Mark's does. I didn't necessarily always go for the heartfelt moments, the big like payoffs at the end. But man, my list, I got so many that I had to put 5 on my honorable mention. My honorable mentions list: White Men Can't Jump, Major League, Caddyshack, Sandlot, and Necessary Roughness. All of those are comedies. Now, Sandlot's not necessarily a comedy, but there's a lot of comedy baked into the Sandlot. And Madcraft says, Mark doesn't have any clue about Wendy Peppercorn, and that upsets me. Yes, Madcraft, Wendy Peppercorn, I think, affected a lot of young boys' lives, mine included. But my top 5 list, in no particular order: Blue Chips. I loved Blue Chips as a kid. 61, which is the story of Roger Maris attempting to break the home run record, and how much Yankee fans hated Roger Maris for trying to break that record. Number 3 is Rocky 2. I like Rocky 2 because I like to see Rocky win. It's a better movie. Number 1 on my list, Rudy, because it's the indomitable spirit, even though the ending might have been wrong, even though, they might have made a lot of things up about Rudy that weren't necessarily true. I still think it's a great film. And We Are Marshall is my top sports movie. I mean, it has the tragedy of what they went through. It has battling back against all the odds, even when you're not going to win very much. And I think that season, Marshall only won 1 football game, and they sucked for a long time after that. McConaughey was fantastic in that movie. It launched a lot of careers from some of the younger guys that were athletes on that team. And I just loved We Are Marshall.
Got to see that one, Diesel. Got to
Really?
see that one.
Okay, it's a good one.
Got to see that one. Guys, Texter says Ryan Sandberg also played in Duncan Park, 1979. Incredible. Guys, what is one sports movie that hasn't been made but needs to be? Let us know. We've got the top 5 at 5 coming your way next, right here on the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides. Mark Ryan and Diesel. We are the Fan Upstate. My friends, this is the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides, Mark Ryan and Diesel, and we are the Fan Upstate, rolling on until 7 o'clock p.m. today. Awesome to have you guys with us. Truly do appreciate you and all of you. Hit us on the Renewal by Anderson fan phone. 844-326-3663 is the number. 844-FANFONE. And the text line is there for you at 71307. Just start your text with the word fan, and away you go there as well. Have a network show tomorrow, noon to 5 p.m. Hope you guys will check that out if you are around. Would be great to have you guys tune in. Always is. And of course, do not forget that the Fan Upstate will be carrying Furman versus Mercer tomorrow. Furman versus Mercer. So our coverage of that game will pick up at 1:30 p.m. Furman Mercer tomorrow, 1:30 p.m. Also right here on the Fan Upstate. Make sure you check that out. It is Furman's last regular season game of the season. Last game of the season before the conference tournament begins. It is time for us to do that jam. We call it the Top 5 at 5, the top 5 biggest sports stories of the day, the top 5 topics we're discussing. Ladies and gentlemen of the Upstate, Offsiders, the Top 5 at 5 starts right now.
And now, the Top 5 at 5.
And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hit it!
5.
At number 5. Guys, Beamer's at it again. Why is Beamer at it again? Can somebody please explain this to me? What is this guy's problem? Today, Phil Kornblut of Sports Talk Media Network quoted Shane Beamer as saying he's been a little disappointed in the freshman wide receivers. They have signed under him so far. He was looking to upgrade in that area. Too many drops last season as well. The best receivers on the team have been ones he inherited from the previous staff or taken from the portal. Well, Shane Beamer's not going to let that slide. Nope. He says, Phil, if you're going to try and insinuate something, at least quote me accurately, sir. I said I was disappointed in how quickly our freshman wide receivers have developed and gotten on the field. That's coaching, and it starts with me. Same thing I told our wide receivers in person when I met with them. Not one media member in that room thought I was taking a shot at our receivers. I appreciate those media members and their professionalism. This, though, it gets tiresome from you. Guys, it just amazes me how obsessed and in tune Shane Beamer is with the perceived message. It amazes me. You guys remember the date, the time, January 13th, 2023, 9:46 p.m. Shane Beamer to us. I normally don't respond to second-rate JV radio programs I've never heard of, and apparently no one else has either, considering you're in the Upstate and have 8,000 followers. Do you have a good source for this story? Other than, I don't know, me? Happy for Garrett, we got our guy. Well, what was Shane Beamer mad at us for? We discussed and we tweeted out the following link. Shane Beamer in South Carolina really wanted Garrett Riley. Clemson got him. What does that say about the tier status of both of these programs, both these two programs? I find that funny. I do know, we shared, folks, what we firmly believed, okay? If I were a Gamecock fan, I'd be much more concerned if Beamer wasn't interested in Garrett Riley, who was the number one available OC on the market. Okay? It wasn't Dowell Loggins. Wouldn't you be more concerned if he wasn't interested in that guy than if he wanted the guy and didn't get him? I still can't believe he went scorched earth like that. Still can't believe that. Still shocked by that to this very day. But he still does what he does. What would be the appropriate response for Shane Beamer today? Doesn't like the way Phil Kornblut said something? Nothing. Who gives a rip? You are giving Phil Kornblut and that site, just like you gave us in our site, far more traffic than we would have otherwise. Just like Shane Beamer, we gave you your highest traffic tweet you've ever penned, you've ever written. We gave that to you. You're welcome. But top-tier coaches don't spend time getting down in the mud with media members. So again, what's the right way to handle it? You can say nothing, or you can do, and I didn't share this on the air before today, what the Carolina Panthers did with me last year. I had a scoop that they were not going to be hiring Steve Wilks. And I listed some candidates that they might be interviewing, okay? And turns out they didn't hire Steve Wilks, right? But that day during the show, I got a call from the Carolina Panthers. Wasn't angry, wasn't upset. They said, Mark, we see your scoop. We appreciate you covering our team. We want to invite you, if you have a scoop like that, feel free to touch base with us if you'd like, and we can go over the validity of the scoop with you. And I said, okay, well, hit me with Steve Wilks. What do you make of the validity of that? They said, could be true. Time will tell. They said, D'Amico Ryans, we hadn't heard that Dave Tepper will be interviewing D'Amico, but he could. He could. We just hadn't heard that yet. But if you'd like, you can hit us up and we can share with you. We can talk to you about the scoop that you just received. That's the right way to handle this. Shane Beamer picking up the phone and calling me is the right way to handle this. Not doing what he did today, not going scorched earth. You know, it just goes to show you he hasn't learned a damn thing. And yet you Gamecock fans still put up with it. I don't get it. I don't get it. Next up.
4.
Number 4. I was driving around running errands this morning, and Rob was sharing that somebody had asked him, what sport has the best movies? And I thought, that's an interesting question. And they were kicking it around and fun conversation and, getting different opinions. And I said to myself this afternoon, I'm like, I'm going to dig into this because I think there's a way to prove this. So I found a list, and admittedly, this is just one list, but it's a new list, and it's out from The Vulture, vulture.com, and it ranks the 50 best sports movies of all time. And this movie, this list just came out on December 21st, 2023. So it's got all of the new movies in it, right? Well, among the sports with the most, basketball is in third place with 5. Boxing is in second place with 8. And the sports with the most top 50 sports movies of all time, baseball, 11. Next highest after that is 3. But you got 3 different sports with at least 5 of the top 50 sports movies of all time. Baseball, my friends, leads the way. What is a sports movie that hasn't been made that needs to be? Then I've given you my top 5 sports movies of all time. My number 1 is 42, The Jackie Robinson Story. It's free right now on Amazon Prime. Chadwick Boseman from the Upstate stars in it. So does Harrison Ford. He plays Branch Rickey, the guy who signed him. That's my number 1. A League of Their Own, Field of Dreams, Rudy, and Moneyball round out my top 5. What are yours? I'd love to know. I would absolutely love to know. Next up.
3.
At number 3 on the show, Caitlin Clark this Sunday is going to become the all-time leading scorer in NCAA history. That's according to the official record book, right? Certainly is. Just like Barry Bonds is the official home run king in the Major League Baseball record book. But you see, we as the people also have a voice. He's not the home run king in the court of public opinion. And he's not really the home run king either in terms of what baseball says, because they don't even have him in their Hall of Fame. I regard Hank Aaron as the all-time home run king. Why? Because Barry Bonds cheated the sport. But this is a topic about Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark versus Pistol Pete Maravich. Pistol Pete played 3 years, Caitlin Clark 4. In Pistol Pete's era, freshmen were ineligible, had no three-point line, no shot clock. He averaged 44 points a game to Caitlin Clark's 28. You could hold the ball forever when Pistol Pete played, and he still managed to score. So teams could just literally dribble the ball around for 2-3 minutes to prevent him from touching the basketball.
That old Dean Smith four corners defense.
Yeah, and he still sets the all-time record.
Four corners offense.
So what do you say? Who is the all-time leading scorer? Is it Pistol Pete who did it in 3? Is it Caitlin who did it in 4? Realize that according to the people who define records, the NCAA, Clemson doesn't have a football national championship. They do not have a single one. Not in the 1980s, not in 2016, not in 2018. Why? Because the postseasons were not NCAA-sanctioned events. So is it Caitlin or is it Pistol Pete that is the all-time leading scorer?
Wait, shouldn't Clemson have one from 81?
Wasn't listed. I don't know why.
Really?
Not listed. Not listed from 1981. Next up.
2.
At number 2 on the list. Why wouldn't the 1981 title be listed?
Can anybody give us any insight on that? Why wouldn't the 1981 national championship be listed? Was there who knows?
I don't get it. I don't understand. But they got a listing of all these other sports and national championships for each team. Clemson is listed as having no national championships, according to the official NCAA record book. Why? Number 2 on the list, Clemson, South Carolina baseball. Diesel, can we get a quick update on the status of that tonight? Clemson, South Carolina baseball. Has it been postponed? It is dicey. It is rainy. We've been thinking about this all day. I think it's total BS how they say a neutral site game is in Segra Park in Columbia, South Carolina. Clemson leads the all-time series 185 to 134.
Postponed.
It is postponed until tomorrow, probably. What are they going to do? You're not going to make Clemson play back-to-back games at Founders Park.
So here it is. Due to inclement weather, the Clemson versus South Carolina game scheduled for Friday at 7 p.m. at Founders Park has been postponed. No makeup date has been determined as of yet. This is from ClemsonTigers.com. The Tigers' next scheduled game is Saturday at 4 p.m. against South Carolina at Segra Park in Columbia on ACC Network Extra.
So essentially, Diesel, this could be a situation where can you imagine if we have to deal with a tie on that series?
I would hope that they would make up that neutral site game later on in the season.
No doubt. No doubt. I would as well. But no one wants to deal with a tie in this series, right? You're going to have a game in Founders Park. You're going to have a game at Clemson. Let's just hope that there's a winner. What do you say? Give us a winner. Be it Clemson or South Carolina, no tie. I would rather lose if I was a fan of either team, Diesel, than have a tie. And finally,
1.
at number 1 on the show today, how about some love for one Nate Wiggins? You see, Nate Wiggins is an elite corner who is almost assuredly going to be drafted in the first round of the NFL draft right now in April. Why is that, you say? Well, he was told by a bunch of NFL teams that they expected him to run in the 4.5s as a cornerback. And he looked at him and he said, "Are y'all cross-eyed or something, man? Who are you watching? Who are you watching? That is not me. That has never been me. You guys must not be watching the right guy." Well, today, Nate Wiggins ran a 40-yard dash of his own. The time, 4.29 seconds. I got your 4.5s right here, said Nate. 4.2. How about that? Guess who's a first-round pick, my friends? None other than Clemson's own Nate Wiggins. Waited for his chance, got his chance, kicked some serious ace in his chance, in his opportunity. Go Nate. We are rooting you on. And by the way, I think Xavier Legette would be a fantastic fit for the Carolina Panthers with the first pick of round number 2. Those are today's top 5 at 5. Now it's your chance to chime in, which you can do at 844-FAN-PHONE on the Renewal by Anderson text phone line. That's 844-326-3663. The text line is there for you at 71307 to start your text with the word fan, and away you go. You can get to us on Facebook, on Twitter, and on YouTube at The Fan Upstate on every one. Please like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and subscribe to us on YouTube. And finally, email. You guys can all email the show. Mark Ryan, that is MARC Ryan, at thefanupstate.com. All the different ways you can get in touch with us here on the most interactive sports radio show anywhere. Our guy JD in Simpsonville. How did I do today on that, JD? I know I butchered it yesterday. I think I did much, much better today. I really, really concentrated on this today, JD. Really, really concentrated.
It's funny, when you're really trying hard, that's when you're going to mess it up.
Yeah.
When you're not thinking about it, you just spew it out there like it's no big deal.
Texter says, Mark, here you go. Sweetness Story, 85 Bears, crazy cast. Going to check it out. Guys, I'm going to try to watch all the movies you send me sports-wise. So if you give me your list of your top 2 or 3 sports movies and I haven't seen one or more or all, I'm going to watch them, okay? And I'll let you know what I think. Texter says The Replacements 1, Varsity Blues 2. So this guy likes the cheesy.
The mid-2000s sports movies.
The Hill, Mighty Ducks, and Sandlot. Texter says, I want to see a movie about the baseball steroid era. Yes, Diesel.
To the texter who said that Mark's top 5 sucked, which one of us had the best top 5?
Ooh.
Who was your top 5? What was your top 5 movies?
Diesel,
Real quick.
Diesel, let's post it.
And I would love to have anybody on the text line vote on this. We're going to put it on the Twitter poll as well.
Okay, yeah. My top 5, Diesel, are 42, A League of Their Own, Field of Dreams, Rudy, and Moneyball. All right? Moneyball. Karate Kid and White Men Can't Jump made my honorable mention.
My top 5 were Blue Chips, 61, Rocky 2, Rudy, and We Are Marshall.
There you go. There you go, my friends. Let's see here. Texter says, Shoeless Joe Jackson film would be fire. Who would be the cast, though? Jeremy Allen White could likely crush the role. Texter, there's a movie out about that. That's in the top 50 movies of all time. What was it called? Which one was it? Where is that one? Bloody hell, where is it? Where is it? I'll find it for you, but there is the Black Sox movie. It's from 1988, and it is on my immediate list of movies I must see. And now, of course, Eight Men Out, it's called, from 1988.
Mark, here's some breaking news. We don't have the sounder, but NCAA Football Rules Committee proposes in-helmet communication between the coaches and players could be approved April 18th. So we could very well be getting in-helmet communication.
Thank God. Good God, we've waited way too long for that. Sign-stealing scandal. We still do the stupid chains to tell you whether you have a first down. We can't have a chip in the ball, but we can have a yellow line on the field. Make it make sense. Texter says, Mark's top 5 sports movies: Waterboy, Woodlawn, Days of Thunder, We Are Marshall, and Remember the Titans. We Are Marshall coming up multiple times now.
Days of Thunder taught me everything I know about drafting and everything I needed to know about Nicole Kidman's inner thigh.
Oh, God.
Yowza.
Spur Daddy says, Woodlawn, you got to watch, Mark. You got it, Spur Daddy. It's a faith-based movie about Woodlawn High School in the early 1970s. You got it. Not much for profanities, but Beamer needs to stop being a little whiny. So says Spur Daddy. It's funny because Kornblut gives him hell like you do, Mark. Y'all boys keep up the good work. Do my best. Tonight's game will be made up on a midweek day game sometime in April. What good does that do us now? Give us the game now. Hopefully the hip injury Nate suffered today doesn't cost him high 7-figure numbers. Ain't that the truth?
Why don't we just add 2 more games to this series, the Clemson and South Carolina series? Make it a 5-game series. You play 1 at each school's home park. You play 1 at Fluor Field in Greenville. You play 1 at the minor league park in Columbia. You play 1 at the minor league park in Charleston.
Yeah, you make it a tour of the state.
Yeah.
Right? Make it a tour of the state. Go for it, man. Texter says, for the love of the game, Youngblood. For the love of the game, that's one movie. Then he says Youngblood Greater. I don't get that. I guess the top-tier coaches just get into it with fans on their radio call-in show. I guess so. Texter says if
that's Dabo and Tyler from Spartanburg reference.
That's right. If
well
only
done.
Rudy wasn't offsides. Major League, the Little Giants, Field of Dreams, the Longest Yard, Days of Thunder. Jared Tripp wants to know radio, Rookie of the Year. Remember the Titans facing the Giants, and he's got 42. Jared Tripp, I knew I liked you. I knew I liked you, sir. Finally, a 42 reference. Guys, listen, take the Mark Ryan recommendation. Text the show on Monday, okay? Take the Mark Ryan recommendation. Text the show on Monday. 42, the Jackie Robinson story, okay? All you got to do, go to your Amazon Prime, type in 4 and 2, 42, and hit enter. And it's free on Amazon. Free for everybody, okay? If you have Amazon Prime, it is free. Period. End of story. Thanks for playing. When we come back, we'll get your thoughts. We'll get your calls. We'll get to so much more right here on the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides, Mark Ryan and Diesel, and we are the Fan Upstate.
Stream almost forgot that that's it for us for the week. We're done. Thank you to Madcraft for being such a big part of the text line or the messages today. Spur Daddy as well. Hey, you guys, if you're not yet following, if you're not subscribing, and you hear it from YouTubers all the time saying that 40% aren't subscribed, but that means 4 out of every 10 people who are watching the show are not subscribed. Even if you're here constantly, you may not be subscribed. So go ahead and do that. Hit the button. That way you see all of our reels come out when those come out, or the shorts. You see all the videos, everything. That would be huge. We'll see you on Monday.
See you on Monday, guys. Take care.